The next use case that we looked at was automated capture of emails. And, for two reasons. One, because this is a massive performance improvement opportunity and an opportunity to move lots of resources from, just doing this sort of work into things that can help with records. But two, because it's an opportunity to engage lots of business stakeholders, because often these things will end up being done by their teams. And one of the problems that it really solves too is that a lot of automation that we're doing, or things that look like automation from outside, is still really just people. I talk to lots of councils, state government, federal government organisations who have got forms on their website, and the form puts all that information in an email that goes to a person who then either puts it into CRM or registers that in Content Manager and sends it to another person to actually do some work. And so we can automate a lot of these processes. And the way you do that is it's reasonably simple. You just take a lot of that metadata that's in those forms and you use that to drive some automation. And, this is the sort of thing that we're looking at. We're looking at taking a lot of those resources that are on the front line doing quite simple processing opportunities, because, that's really the sort of keeping the lights on activity. And we want to see if we can move some of that into doing projects and things that are going to improve the organisation. And, that is a very, very easy sell when you're talking to business side stakeholders, because they have always got a list of projects as long as their arm they'd love to do. They just don't have the people that they need to actually do them. And, we've done a number of these sorts of pieces of work. And actually, I think, Alex, I might just get you to talk about this piece of work that we did for a client, obviously, that we're not talking about there. We're not mentioning them by name here.
Thanks, Carl. So we wanted to talk about something that we've done for a specific customer, and their use case was that their customer service agents were receiving a lot of emails every day out of a transactional system, and those emails needed to be captured into Content Manager for audit and compliance purposes. So what they were effectively doing was spending a significant portion of their day going through the emails that they've received in their inbox, figuring out which customer they were for, and they were either dragging them to a series of linked folders, which brought the emails through into Content Manager to go into the right place, or they were dragging and dropping directly onto the target folders from Outlook itself. This seems like a pretty standard sort of thing that a lot of people do. But the problem was it was just using up so much time, and there was a lot of pushback from the business to say, isn't there a better way to do this? And we understand that we need to do this for compliance purposes, but it's a very, very manual task. So what we did is we changed the process. We altered the behaviour of the staff so that instead of choosing which container to put it into, they just put everything in one container. Now, this is the absolute opposite of what most people would normally think we should do, and I can hear all the records managers gasping and fainting in the aisles. But what we did from that point forward is we said, you know what, we could write some software that basically figured out which container these things were supposed to go into. So the staff had a single link folder. They dragged all the transactional emails into those, or they had a rule that put them in there automatically, depending on the way they wanted to operate. We then had a background process that monitored that folder, figured out which customer it was for, and moved it to the right container automatically. As part of this, what we also did was do location cleanup. So everyone knows about unknown locations being created in the system and duplicate locations. This system basically made sure that they weren't being created. They matched onto existing locations for those customers and prevented the creation of duplicate locations within the system. And if for some reason someone had put something in there that didn't conform to the standard sort of transactional emails, the system would try to move those. If it failed, it would just leave them in that container. And coming out of that, what we did was provide a weekly summary email that comes right out of that same process. Basically, once a week, it would send the administrative staff an email saying, this is how many emails got moved this week. This is how many locations were cleaned up this week, and here's how many things remain in the original folder. And that last number gave them a clear indication of problematic emails that they might want to go in and process by hand or update the title of or something like that so it gets picked up. And this is the kind of thing that saved a large number of people across the organisation a little bit of time every day. But if you add all of that up, you're saving a lot of money, but you're also encouraging people to use the system.